Hello, so my name is Amalia of Your Love Matters. Welcome to my room. Today I want to talk about the ways you can act yourself into more self-love. Now, self-love is talked about a lot these days, right? Love yourself more, love yourself first. All these terms and ways about talking about self-love. So I want to come from a perspective that love is not feeling, but love is action. So love is the way we show up for each other in the world. Love is the way we show care. Love is the choices we make to choose love and to choose healing over fear. So I'm not so interested in necessarily how you feel about yourself today, but how you act towards yourself. And once you start acting towards yourself with more self-love and care, then you eventually happen to just start feeling it and feeling it deeply. And the trouble can be if we start with having to try to feel better about ourselves, it can feel like a difficult road ahead, right? But if we start by small actions that show our body and our nervous system, hey, it's safe to be a bit kinder towards yourself. It's safe to love yourself. It's safe to make choices that choose yourself. Then eventually, I promise, you'll start to feel it a lot more. And this is something I know from my experience. I used to have really negative ways that I talked about myself, and those played out by me doing things that weren't so loving towards myself, right? Or choosing people in my life. This is often how we do it, right? Maybe we're kind of nice to ourselves, but we choose partners and friends and jobs where people are really mean to us and reflect back those feelings of unworthiness that we hold and carry somewhere within us. So by changing the way you act towards yourself, as I'm going to explain today, you can make self-love a lot more tangible, a lot more real, and give yourself real tools for doing this. So I'm going to start with a prayer. So if you're watching this, feel free to receive this prayer, and then I'm going to go into tangible tips. So my prayer, if you're watching this, is that you can make the journey to loving yourself that you're probably already on if you found this video, right? Very easy and very easeful, and that you can remember your perfect divinity within, and you can act in accordance with your heart, with your truth, and with your higher self. And that self-love can be not only a mantra, but a way of being, and that through that self-love, self-worthiness, self-respect, you can become also a better friend, better teacher, better employee, and a better partner and lover to those in your life. So, step one, fake it till you make it. Here's the deal. If you are continually going, for example, on dates with people that do not treat you kindly, or perpetually resuming relationships with people you know do not have your best interest at heart, this is it's going deeper in the direction of unworthiness, right? It's reiterating that story that this is the best I can do, or this is the best option I have and I better take it. And this is so tempting to do. And I did this for years. And there's no judgment there. We have to also go through those relationships to come out on the other end sometimes. But I also want to challenge that and say, there are ways that you can, from the start saying no to what you know is not for you, right? I remember in college, for example, I was having an interaction with someone who wasn't very nice to me in the past and who I'd really liked. And these two things are not a good combination. And I remember this person struck up a conversation with me a couple years after I'd moved on from these feelings. And I was so tempted to stay in this conversation and receive attention from this person and just get a little something. And then I had this other moment and this other part of me that said, actually, what if you just walked away? Like, you don't owe this person anything. What if you just took yourself, chose yourself, and continued on to the unknown? The unknown was the right way to go. But I guarantee and I promise, if something isn't working and someone isn't treating you kindly, however fun it is, however juicy it is, however enjoyable it is for the moment, my experience is that those things that are not in alignment with us and with what we actually want, we have to say no to in order to make space for the goodness that we do want. So it takes a bit of work, and that if you're, for example, manifesting a really kind and loving partner, but you keep dating people that are unkind and unloving, it's not going to just change overnight because you're wishing for something better. It requires you to start saying no and start setting boundaries with the world, start setting boundaries with people, so that you can actually make space for what you say you want. So that's lesson 1. Start by saying no to what you don't want in action, right? Start setting those physical boundaries in the world. Start overriding that part of you that really just wants something from this other person that you know isn't right for you. And then from that place, you'll have more space for the good stuff. Promise it only gets better, right? When we can let go of what we know within us is not good for us, only something better will come. And the something better might not be the ultimate thing, the ultimate person, partner, job, but I guarantee it will get better, right? And that's how we're learning, that's how we're growing. And it requires a lot of faith, right? And faith in ourselves, and faith in the universe and the divine. And all I can say is, from my experience and all those I love going through this journey to love ourselves more deeply, it requires a leap of faith, and it requires us to abandon those places and those people that do not honor our light and do not honor our essence. And this is not a judgment on them. It's actually a reflection of how we feel, right? That we would want to be in relation with these people. And the reasons for why we don't love ourselves are not our fault, right? They're things we come in with to learn. We shouldn't feel guilty or bad or like we're wrong for not being there yet, but we have to take the empowered stance to change, right? So that was step 1. Step 2 is the power of prayer and intention. So that was a physical thing you can do. Start saying no, start setting boundaries. Now, another way that I know works, really works, and starts changing things is to have a daily prayer or intention or affirmation to ask the universe to show you how to love yourself. Ask the divine to show you how to love yourself, because everyone's journey is also unique, right? This is the advice that I have, but I guarantee the way that it's going to go for you will be very different than it goes for me. So have a prayer. I'll share mine below that I use, and say it every day, and say it with consistency. And if you feel like, I don't really want to go there yet, my advice is say a prayer that says, please God, please Spirit, change me into someone, make me ready to begin loving myself, make me ready to want to love myself, change me into a person who is inviting in more self-love. And this kind of preemptive prayer, right, gets us ready for the ultimate prayer. Because I have never not gotten what I've prayed for, or I've never not gotten closer. Does that make sense? There are some prayers that are still marinating, right? But I only get closer to those. Also know that if you are asking, what I used to realize reading my old intentions is I always wanted a relationship, right? But I never seemed to write that down. I would just say, oh, I want a summer fling, or I want someone to kiss, or I want someone fun to date. And I got those things, right? But that wasn't really what I wanted. It was what I had said I'd wanted, because I didn't really feel ready to ask for what I really wanted. So step 2 was prayer and invitation. And step 3 is self-care. So self-care, we talk about it a lot, right? And I'm talking about care for yourself like you are the most precious person on this planet. Care for yourself the way you would your dear friend. And take that care seriously. Make that your bottom line, make that the groundwork of your life, the way you care for yourself. And it's also nice to write out the ways that you feel cared for by others, and start doing those things daily for yourself. Give yourself everything that you would like a partner to give to you. And if you are partnered, give yourself more of that, right? Give yourself the things that your loving partner gives you. And if you don't have a loving partner, then start giving those to yourself. So this could be things like buying yourself flowers. It's a classic one, but it's a good one. I always buy myself flowers, right? I always have that as something I like to do. It could be something like, say your love language is words of affirmation. Write yourself a love letter. Write yourself, even if it's difficult and it takes a lot of courage to really sit down and say the things you like about yourself, start. Make it a practice. Break the ice, right? If your love language is gifts, buy yourself something sweet weekly. Buy yourself a tiny thing that just makes you feel loved, and you could almost even wrap it and then open it as though it's from you to yourself. Sometimes I do that with letters. I'll write myself a letter and I'll leave it for a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple days, and then I'll read it back to myself from myself. And it's a really powerful way to feel loved and to remember how easy it is to love yourself. The last one is a sweet one that I kind of invented and helps. So I want you to start ritualizing your self-love. This means choose a candle, infuse it with the energy of self-love, and every night light it for 5 minutes. I want you to write words that are loving and place them on an altar. I want you to have a crystal that symbolizes self-love, and I want you to carry it with you. I started doing this in college. This isn't my self-love crystal, but I had a few and I would carry them in my pocket. I would just try to feel them. And I thought it was a really beautiful and helpful way to make this love feel real. Another thing I want you to do is I want you, when you're drinking water or you're eating food, to take a few moments to say thank you and truly imagine the energy of divine love, unconditional love, true self-worth, self-love, self-respect, and acceptance infused into what you're eating and drinking. And it doesn't matter if it's healthy or not. It doesn't matter if you are eating on the go or you're drinking your coffee. It doesn't have to be precious, but it has to be consistent, if you can remember. And if you can't remember, then the one day you remember will probably be the perfect day that you need it. And it's a good reminder for me too. But any intention that you're working on, you can infuse that intention into physical objects. So you can take water, for example. So this is my water. I'm going to tell this water, I love you so much, Amalia. You're so beautiful. You're so wonderful. You're so kind. Okay. These different things to myself. And then hold it on my heart, right? And feel that. And there's parts of me that maybe don't fully believe it, and that's okay. And then I'm going to drink it. And as I drink it, I'm going to feel that self-love go in. Ta-da! So to recap, my 4 tips for acting your way into more self-love is: 1 is say no. Raise those standards. 2, have a prayer, intention, and affirmation you do. 3 is self-care. Act through the love languages your way into more love. And 4 is infusing into ritual items, into candles, into your water, into your food, the energy, vibration, and intention of self-love. And I want you to remember as well that the more you love yourself, loving yourself is not selfish. You may know that by now, and you may not. And the reason it's not selfish is because you are a child of the divine, right? You are this sacred and beautiful person that came here for a reason. And the more that you love yourself, we're not talking about being self-aggrandizing. That's another actual symptom of not loving yourself, right? When we have to be arrogant, it's an overcompensation. But when we truly love ourselves, we're actually loving the divine more. We're loving God more. We're loving spirit more, right? Because we are this child of love, and all of that divinity is within us. And from that place, we are able to love our friends more, love our family more, love our partners more. And it also allows love to land in us, right? When we know what it feels like to be really loved and really cared for by ourselves, imagine how much easier it will be to accept that love from someone else. So you have your homework, you have your tips. I am available for one-on-one sessions and readings to help you fortify this love and see what you yourself might need to do this. And I'm also going to be holding a workshop for this in late June, depending on when you're seeing this. So much love and hope to see you there.